Hello students. So in this video today we are going to discuss about a new chapter, We Are Not Afraid to Die. We can If We Can All Be Together, written by Mr. Gordon Cook and Alan East. In the first video, part 1 of this video, we have discussed the background of the story, background of the voyage undertaken by Mr. Cook and his family along with two crew members. Now let us go in detail and see more about the story. But before that, you people must know that for this voyage, Mr. Cook was awarded Lady Swartling Award because he performed an outstanding feat of seamanship and navigation, and this award was presented to Mr. Cook from Gloucester in recognition of his outstanding seamanship and navigation when he successfully sailed and navigated a severely damaged 30-ton yacht which was called Wave Walker safely, saving the life of all six people on board. Yes, all six people. We have earlier discussed that there were total six people, including him, three of his family members, plus two other crew members. One was a Switzerland's native, and the other one was from America. Yeah. So when this man, Mr. Cook, returned to UK after around 30 years, he came to know that he was presented this award, and finally he received this award. So it took him 30 years to get the award. That's why the title suggests the shipwrecked mariner reported 30 years later. So now, let us first know who this Cook, Mr. Cook is. You can see in the picture getting this award, the Lady Swartling Trophy. Now, to discuss more about this man, he was born in Toronto, and he is the one who is two-time Canadian Olympic sailor. You just note this down that he is the man who is a two-time Canadian Olympic sailor, and he sails for the Royal Canadian Yacht Club, and he's the son of Stephen Cook and Linda Cook. Some more detail about him is given about his education, which he has received from Queen's University in engineering physics program, and there he met his Olympic team partner Ben Remuker, and they were the members of university sailing team. Now, this Mr. Cook and Remuker, they became the first Canadian to sail a 49-year in an Olympic regatta at the 2008 Beijing Olympic, where they finished 14th. Some more detail about this man is given. If you are interested in knowing more, you can read the whole. Now let's proceed to the summary of the chapter. As we have earlier discussed that the family of four members plus two crew member, they started sailing. Okay, and what they were doing, they were sailing in a ship to imitate the historical round the world voyage. Yes, you heard it right, round the world voyage. They were going to undertake the round the world voyage, which has already been taken by James Cook in 1768. So you see, somewhere around 200 years after, this man got an idea that why not to imitate the journey, the historical voyage undertaken by James Cook some 200 years later. Now the journey, it began from Plymouth, England, and they were to go towards Cape Town in South Africa. Now this England is in Europe, and South Africa. Sorry, in South Africa's tip, we see this place called Cape Town. So this was the first leg of the journey. It was expected to journey to Australia through the endless Indian Ocean and finally return to England. So this was the round the world voyage. Unfortunately, the ship partially wrecked in the Indian Ocean, and the sailor faced death very close. Yes, when you will read the chapter, you will see that they were too close to death. They were on the verge of dying. But anyhow, somehow, this man managed to escape and get return safe home. The narrative here describes the near death experience of these helpless people, their hard work, and the children's encouraging message. When you see the title, no, if we all can die together, we are not afraid to die. These are the actual words of his son Janardhan, who said to encourage this man that it's okay, he's ready to die if they all are together. So now let's proceed and see the story in bits. Mr. James Cook, which we have already discussed, about whom we have already discussed, in 1768, 26 August, to be very exact, in England, he traveled to Tahiti, commissioned by the Royal Society. Now, to imitate this journey, Mr. Cook and his family, they decided to imitate. They started preparation, and it was not a common journey, a normal one. It was a 3-year long journey in which they were about to complete 105,000 kilometers. Now, see, such a long voyage, 3 years journey. It was going to be a very adventurous trip for them. Now, this I have already discussed in the previous lecture and previous video, where I have told you about the 3 voyages undertaken by Captain James Cook. The first voyage is shown in red, second in green, and third is in blue. Now you can zoom it and then look closely. Now the ship in which these people they started sailing, it was named Wave Walker. So about the detail, about the specification, I tell you that it was 23-meter long and 30-ton heavy. Okay, in 1976 the ship was already settled and ship was ready for sailing. The narrator, Mr. Cook, and his wife Mary, his son Jonathan, and daughter Sujan, they started their journey from Plymouth, England. In 1976, in the month of December, they started in July. Now in December, they reached to Cape Town, South Africa. Okay, so this was the first leg of the journey, and they were joined by 2 other crew members. One is Larry Wiesel, who's an American. The other one was Herb Sisler, who was a Swiss man. Now, the other leg of the journey starts from this place 1970. In 1976, October 1, the voyage heading to the Indian Ocean and the world's roughest ocean. We all know that how rough is Indian Ocean. October 3rd, strong gales in ocean. You can see this picture is given ocean. I suggest you students, you go and see this Tari documentary. It is available on Hotstar, not YouTube, Hotstar, and there you will see that these oceans, which part of the ocean have calm sea waves, and the other one is having very rough sea waves. Okay, so when we talk about Indian Ocean, it is quite rough. Now, in the month of December in 1976, there came a bad news because the weather started getting worse and worse. The weather became atrocious, and the Christmas celebration became quite remarkable, not positively, obviously. On 31st December, the weather was still bad. Their last day of the year was also in total confusion, in total like a worse situation, we can say. Now the new year's came on January 2 in 1977. Early morning, they saw the waves were too high. It almost raised to the mast of the ship. Now in previous video, I have discussed all the parts of the ship. You will need all the parts knowledge if you want to understand the chapter well. So watch the video carefully, note down each part, and then you start the chapter. Now the waves were so high, so they sailed with a small storm jib and made 8 knots per hour. I told you earlier how to make notes and different kinds of notes. So they made 8 knots per hour. The scream, the loud noise, it was so high that it was almost piercing the ears, and there was all foggy, all spray. Their bodies were not relaxed at all. The morning of January 2nd, they saw that the waves are too high, so they dropped the storm ship and lashed a very heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern so that they could control their boat. Now double lashed everything. They just double secured everything. They all knew that anytime they could die, so they donned their oil skins, their life jacket, and they just waited because that's all they could do. Now, around 6 p.m. in the evening, there was a quiet silence. There was an ominous silence. There was something wrong about to happen. Suddenly, wind dropped. The sky grew dark. Means it is about to rain. There was a growing roar, and suddenly they saw an enormous cloud. It was not a cloud, it was a wave. It was completely vertical and twice the height of the other wave. It was so high. Earlier it was just like high wave. It was twice the height of the earlier wave, and with a frightful breaking crest toward the aft of the boat. And suddenly it just the crest broke and the whole wave just got dropped on the boat. The stern moved up the face of the wave, and a tremendous explosion shook the deck. I'm telling you, students, go and watch all the parts of the ship. Now the explosion, the explode. Okay, it was so tremendous that the deck of the boat completely got shook. A torrent of green and white water could be seen everywhere. The narrator's head, it got smashed into the steering wheel. Now he had this severe injury on his head, and everywhere there was water. This man now felt like he's about to die and almost fainted. You can see the ship almost drowned. Now they thought that now Wave Walker cannot survive. It is about to get capsized, but it isn't. What happened suddenly? Mast fell horizontally and ship sides almost touched water. Suddenly came another wave from the opposite direction, and the ship again stood upright. This was the fortune that favored them. Narrator's lifeline jerked out, and he somehow could grab the guardrails, and he sailed through the air to Wave Walker's main boom. Now, the waves were so high that they started playing with the captain like he is a doll, and the waves were throwing him from this place to that place. There was his mouth filled with blood, his teeth were all broken, and his left ribs were quite cracked. But finally, his determination helped him to find the wheel. He found the wheel, he held on to the wheel, he realized that the ship had water under his feet. Now his wife, Mary, she opens the front hatch and announces that there is water in the cabins too. Now Mary, she asks him to go and see the cabins, whereas she takes the wheel. The captain now quickly runs into the lower deck through the hatch door, and there he saw that Larry and Herb, these two crewmen who were with them, they were pumping the water out of the cabins. They Now he went to see what his children are doing, because at least he wanted to meet his kids before he is dead. He came back. After meeting them, he came back on the deck. Now this meeting is described beautifully in the chapter, and I would want you people to read the text, where you will see these two small kids encouraging and motivating their father, also telling them that they are not at all afraid. So their father has not to worry about them. Instead, he should focus on the journey, on the voyage. Now he came back extra motivated, extra determined, and started repairing the starboard side. Okay, now with the heavy canvas, they secured the holes, and the water intake stopped, but temporarily. Now another thing happened, their pumps were out of order now. Okay, there was a short circuit in electric pump, so this was an added misery. Now again another misfortune, that their instrument went out of order. They all got ruined. Now he started making mayday call. Mayday call is a actually a help call, we can say, via radio transmission. But since they were so far away, ship was far away from the mainland, it also got failed. Now what to do? Somehow he had to save his family and the other members. So he, without any prior experience, without any compass or any other instrument, he estimated, okay, where he could find an island. There he saw that he is about to reach to tiny island, a very small island, around 5. If his calculation goes right, he's about to find an island around 5. But his body was not favoring him. His body was not able to get hold of him. So finally what he did, he went asleep for a while to take some rest. There he saw that wave walker anchored to a 65-kilometer wide island, and the captain, he was still asleep. Suddenly, when somebody woke him up, it was his family, woke him up, he was so shocked, okay. And when he came to know that the time is 6 already, and according to his estimation they were to reach the island at 2. But this family happily informed him that he was the best captain ever, and finally they have landed on a rocky island. He called this rocky island the most beautiful island because it was so good that it saved them all. Because it saved them, he called it this rocky island a very beautiful, most beautiful island. This island was named or called, this island was called Amsterdam Island. This island is in the Netherlands. It lies in the southern Indian Ocean. So it's a part of the French southern and Antarctic lands. You can I have just shared the geographical location of this island. You can just see here, and also you can Google the images of the island. Now finally reaching the island, their ship was almost wrecked. It was almost torn, and the most important part here is to see that even after lot many sufferings, lot many hurdles and obstacles, they somehow managed to reach safely. Okay, so there ends the chapter, and there are a few questions that I have written. The first question is, why did the narrator undertake that round the world voyage? You better understand this question first, okay? Why he took the voyage? What made him undertake? What made him undertake the mission? So now we know that he was inspired by James Cook, and he wanted to repeat the historical journey, and this was the reason he did it. Now, when did the narrator set sail for its round the world voyage? Now, I have already told you that the first man did it in around 1768. Now, you after around 200 years, and exactly 208 years, he took this. You can very well know that in which year. Now, then the third question is, how did Jonathan react to the desperate situation they found themselves in on 5th century? I told you guys to read the text, and there you will see the meeting of father and the kids. So in that paragraph exactly you will know the answer, that what they talked about, and how Shu and Jonathan helped the father to come out victorious. Now last is, optimism and courage help to tide over difficulty. This is what there is the moral of the chapter. It tells us that in any case we need to be positive, we need to be optimistic, we should be courageous, we should have that bravery to overcome any difficulty. Okay, so you need to just elaborate this, student. That's enough for the chapter. I hope you people have understood. Now another thing is that go read this chapter, because this is beautifully written chapter. You will enjoy every word of it, and I guarantee this. Thank you so much, students. We'll meet soon, very soon, with the next chapter of yours. Till then, bye.